The United States deployed the most advanced air armada ever assembled for Operation Desert Storm, with over 1,800 combat aircraft operating from carriers, land bases in Saudi Arabia, and forward airfields across the region. The technology gap between American aircraft and Iraqi forces was generational. Stealth bombers struck with impunity. Precision-guided weapons hit targets from beyond visual range, and airborne radar systems coordinated strikes across the entire theater. Within days, the Iraqi Air Force was destroyed or grounded, and coalition air forces achieved total air supremacy. This video examines every aircraft the U.S. military used to dominate the skies over Iraq and Kuwait. We start with American fighter aircraft. F-15 Eagle. The F-15 was designed to achieve air superiority, and it did exactly that during Desert Storm. Not a single F-15 was lost in air-to-air combat, while Eagle pilots shot down 36 Iraqi aircraft. The twin-engine fighter combined speed, maneuverability, and beyond-visual range missiles to dominate Iraqi fighters. American pilots engaged MiGs and Mirages from distances where Iraqi pilots could not see them or return fire. The APG-70 radar detected targets at ranges exceeding 100 miles, and AIM-7 Sparrow and AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles killed before dogfights began. Iraqi pilots flying MiG-29s and Mirage F-1s never got close enough to use their weapons. The F-15 proved that beyond visual range combat was the future of air warfare. Speed, radar, and missiles mattered more than dogfighting ability when you could kill the enemy before they knew you were there. F-16 Fighting Falcon. The F-16 was the workhorse of Desert Storm, flying more sorties than any other aircraft. The lightweight, multi-role fighter dropped bombs, fired rockets, and engaged enemy aircraft with equal effectiveness. Over 200 F-16s deployed, and they flew thousands of missions, hitting Iraqi armor, bunkers, airfields, and infrastructure. The single-engine design made it cheaper than the F-15, but the radar and weapons were still generations ahead of anything Iraq possessed. F-16 pilots destroyed Iraqi aircraft in air combat and supported ground forces with precision strikes. The Fighting Falcon proved that a lightweight multi-role fighter could perform every mission from air superiority to close air support. Versatility won wars when you could use the same aircraft for multiple roles. F-14 Tomcat. The Navy brought F-14s from carrier decks to provide fleet air defense and strike missions. The massive twin-engine fighter featured the AWG-9 radar that could track 24 targets simultaneously at ranges exceeding 100 miles. The AIM missile could engage targets at ranges where pilots could not even see the enemy. F-14s flew combat air patrol missions protecting the fleet and conducted bombing runs against Iraqi targets. The Tomcat was designed to shoot down Soviet bombers attacking carrier groups, but adapted well to Desert Storm missions. No Iraqi aircraft threatened the fleet thanks to Tomcat coverage. The combination of long-range radar and missiles created a defensive bubble Iraqi forces could not penetrate. FA-18 Hornet. The Navy and Marines operated FA-18s as true multi-role fighters capable of air-to-air combat and ground attack on the same mission. The twin-engine design provided reliability over water, and the weapons load was impressive for the aircraft's size. Hornets flew from carriers and land bases, hitting Iraqi targets with bombs and missiles, then engaging Iraqi aircraft if encountered. The versatility made them invaluable for carrier operations where space was limited. One aircraft type could perform every mission the air wing needed. FA-18s proved the multi-role concept worked. You did not need specialized aircraft when one platform could do everything competently. Moving on to strike and attack aircraft. F-117 Nighthawk. The stealth fighter was the star of Desert Storm. Iraqi radar could not detect F-117s, and surface-to-air missiles could not lock onto them. Nighthawk pilots flew into the heart of Baghdad on the first night and struck command centers, communications facilities, and air defense headquarters with precision-guided bombs. Iraqi defenders fired blindly into the sky, hoping to hit something they could not see. None succeeded. The angular stealth design and radar-absorbing materials made the F-117 nearly invisible to radar. Pilots attacked the most heavily defended targets in Iraq without losses. Stealth technology was not experimental anymore. It was combat-proven and devastating. 42 F-117s flew over 1,200 sorties and destroyed critical targets that conventional aircraft could not reach with heavy losses. A-10 Thunderbolt II. The Warthog was built to kill tanks, and it excelled during Desert Storm. The massive GAU-8 30mm rotary cannon fired depleted uranium rounds that penetrated Iraqi tank armor from above. A-10s flew low and slow, hunting for Iraqi armor during the ground war. Pilots destroyed hundreds of tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery pieces. The heavily armored cockpit protected pilots from ground fire, and the redundant systems meant A-10s returned to base with battle damage that would destroy other aircraft. The A-10 was ugly, slow, and specialized, but it did one job better than anything else: close air support for ground forces. Iraqi tank crews feared the Warthog more than any other aircraft because they heard the cannon before they died. F-111 Aardvark. The F-111 was a Cold War strike bomber designed to penetrate Soviet air defenses at low altitude and high speed. During Desert Storm, it dropped precision-guided bombs from medium altitude using laser guidance. The swing wing design allowed both high-speed flight and efficient loitering. F-111 struck targets across Iraq and Kuwait with pave-way laser-guided bombs, achieving high accuracy. The terrain-following radar that made low-altitude penetration possible was not needed against Iraqi defenses, but the precision bombing capability was invaluable. F-111s proved that older platforms could adapt to modern warfare when equipped with precision weapons. A-6 Intruder. The Navy's carrier-based attack aircraft was designed for low-altitude bombing missions. During Desert Storm, A-6s dropped iron bombs and laser-guided weapons against Iraqi targets. The two-seat design included a bombardier navigator who operated sophisticated navigation and targeting systems. A-6s flew from carriers, hitting Iraqi targets in Iraq and Kuwait. The subsonic speed and older design meant it was not the most advanced strike aircraft, but the weapons load and all-weather capability made it effective. A-6s did the unglamorous work of dropping bombs on targets that precision weapons were not needed for. Sometimes overwhelming firepower mattered more than surgical strikes. Continuing with bombers and strategic aircraft. B-52 Stratofortress. The ancient Cold War bomber proved it still had a role in modern warfare. B-52s launched cruise missiles from outside Iraqi airspace and carpet-bombed Iraqi positions with massive bomb loads. The 8-engine design could carry over 70,000 pounds of bombs and loiter for hours. During the ground war, B-52s conducted arc light strikes, dropping strings of bombs on Iraqi Republican Guard positions. The psychological effect was enormous. Iraqi soldiers described B-52 strikes as the most terrifying experience of the war. The B-52 was designed in the 1950s to drop nuclear weapons on the Soviet Union, but in 1991 it dropped conventional bombs on Iraqi bunkers. Adaptation kept old platforms relevant. F-15E Strike Eagle. The F-15E was a specialized strike variant of the Eagle designed for deep interdiction missions. The two-seat configuration included a weapons systems officer operating advanced targeting systems.
Strike Eagles flew at night using terrain-following radar and targeting pods to hit Iraqi targets with precision weapons. The combination of F-15 speed and maneuverability with strike capability was devastatingly effective. Iraqi forces could not defend against aircraft that operated at night with precision guidance. The F-15E proved that fighter performance and strike capability could combine in one platform. Moving on to electronic warfare and support aircraft.
F-111 Raven. The electronic warfare variant of the F-111 jammed Iraqi radar and communications. Ravens flew ahead of strike packages, suppressing air defenses with electronic jamming and anti-radiation missiles. Iraqi radar operators faced the choice of turning off their systems and going blind, or activating them and being destroyed by missiles that homed on radar emissions. The F-111 created electronic chaos that made coordinated air defense impossible. Iraqi defenses were blinded and destroyed by aircraft designed specifically to suppress them. Electronic warfare was not glamorous, but it saved lives by making enemy defenses ineffective. EA-6 Prowler. The Navy's carrier-based electronic warfare aircraft jammed enemy radar and communications, supporting strike packages. The four-seat Prowler carried sophisticated jamming equipment that disrupted Iraqi air defenses. Prowlers flew with strike aircraft, protecting them from surface-to-air missiles by jamming guidance systems. Electronic warfare aircraft were force multipliers that made every other aircraft more effective and survivable. You could not shoot what you could not detect, and Prowlers made detection nearly impossible. E-3 Sentry AWACS. Airborne Warning and Control System aircraft coordinated the entire air campaign. The massive radar dish on top of the converted Boeing 707 detected aircraft hundreds of miles away, and controllers directed fighters to intercepts and coordinated strike packages. AWACS provided the big picture that made the air campaign so effective. Controllers knew where every coalition aircraft and Iraqi aircraft was at all times. Iraqi fighters that got airborne were directed into F-15 ambushes. Strike packages were routed around threats. AWACS was command and control in the air, and it made the difference between individual missions and a coordinated campaign. E-8 JSTARS. The Joint Surveillance Target Attack Radar System aircraft detected ground vehicles and directed strikes against Iraqi armor. The side-looking radar identified moving vehicles, and controllers directed fighters and bombers to targets in real time. Iraqi forces trying to maneuver at night were detected and destroyed before reaching their objectives. JSTARS was experimental during Desert Storm, but proved so effective it became essential. Real-time battlefield intelligence changed how air power supported ground forces, continuing with reconnaissance and tanker aircraft. U-2 Dragon Lady. The high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft flew above Iraqi air defenses, photographing targets and monitoring communications. The U-2 operated at altitudes above 70,000 feet, where Iraqi fighters and missiles could not reach it. Pilots flew missions over Iraq, gathering intelligence that was used for targeting and battle damage assessment. The U-2 was a Cold War spy plane designed to overfly the Soviet Union, but in 1991, it still provided capabilities satellites could not match. Real-time reconnaissance from manned aircraft gave commanders current intelligence. TR-1. The tactical reconnaissance variant of the U-2 performed similar missions with different sensor packages. TR-1s gathered battlefield intelligence and monitored Iraqi forces. The high-altitude capability made them immune to Iraqi defenses while still providing detailed intelligence. RF-4C Phantom. The reconnaissance variant of the Vietnam-era F-4 carried cameras for tactical reconnaissance. RF-4Cs photographed targets and battle damage at lower altitudes than U-2s. The older design and lack of stealth made them vulnerable, but the camera systems provided detailed imagery. RF-4Cs did dangerous work, flying close enough to photograph targets in detail. KC-135 Stratotanker. Aerial refueling tankers were essential for sustaining the air campaign. KC-135s transferred fuel to fighters, bombers, and support aircraft, extending their range and loiter time. Without tankers, the air campaign would have been impossible. Aircraft based in Saudi Arabia could strike targets deep in Iraq and return only because tankers met them for refueling. Thousands of refueling missions kept coalition aircraft airborne. Tankers were unglamorous, but absolutely essential. KC-10 Extender. The larger KC-10 tanker carried more fuel than the KC-135 and could refuel multiple aircraft simultaneously. The DC-10-based design provided massive fuel capacity that kept heavy bombers and fighter packages airborne for extended missions. KC-10s were force multipliers that let fewer aircraft cover more area. And finally, helicopters and special operations aircraft. AH-64 Apache. Army attack helicopters hunted Iraqi armor and helicopters at night using thermal sights and Hellfire missiles. Apaches destroyed hundreds of Iraqi tanks, armored vehicles, and bunkers. The 30mm chain gun was devastating against light vehicles and infantry. Apaches operated at night when Iraqi forces could not see them, and precision weapons hit targets from ranges where return fire was ineffective. Iraqi helicopter pilots flying Mi-24s faced Apaches with better sensors and weapons. It was not a fair fight. Apaches owned the night battlefield. UH-60 Black Hawk. Utility helicopters transported troops and supplies supporting ground operations. Black Hawks evacuated wounded and moved special forces. The workhorse helicopter that kept operations running. CH-47 Chinook. Heavy-lift helicopters moved artillery, vehicles, and cargo across the battlefield. Chinooks provided mobility that ground vehicles could not match in desert terrain. AH-1 Cobra. Marine attack helicopters provided close air support for ground forces with rockets and missiles. Cobras were older and less capable than Apaches, but Marines used them effectively for close support missions. MH-53 Pave Low. Special operations helicopters with terrain-following radar and advanced navigation systems inserted commandos deep in Iraq. Pave Lows flew at night under radar coverage, penetrating Iraqi airspace for special missions. AC-130 Spectre. Gunships with side-firing cannons and howitzers provided close air support at night. Spectres circled targets and destroyed them with sustained fire. The combination of 20mm cannons, 40mm guns, and 105mm howitzers made Spectres devastating against ground targets.